Welcome to INN's CEO Talks. Joining me today is Michael Rowley, the President, CEO, and Director of Group 10 Metals, which trades on the TSX Venture under the symbol PGE and on the OTCQB under the symbol PGEZF. Mr. Rowley has over 25 years of experience in the exploration, mineral testing, and mine environmental industries. He is one of Group 10's founding shareholders, as well as being active in Granite Creek Copper. Group 10 Metals is a Canadian mineral exploration company focused on the development of high-quality platinum, palladium, nickel, copper, cobalt, and gold exploration assets in top North American mining jurisdictions. The company's core asset is the Stillwater West nickel-copper project adjacent to the Stillwater's high-grade PGE mines in Montana in the U.S. Michael, welcome, and thanks for joining me.
Well, thank you. Very glad to be here, and thank you for your work in getting the word out.
You know, you recently released results from your drilling program late last year. Can you bring us up to date on what the outcome was?
Oh, I'd be glad to. Yes, high-grade results, battery metals and PGEs in a productive world-class U.S. district. The key points to that are that this is a famously well-mineralized district, and we are targeting more effectively than ever, thanks to our predictive geologic model, the expansion of the resources that we issued only just a few months before those recent drill results that you mentioned. Pivotal event for the company, we in October announced 1.1 billion pounds of battery metals and 2.4 million ounces of platinum group metals and gold. Those drill holes that you mentioned in December are the first two of 14 expansion drill holes, and that ties into our priorities for this year, which is the expansion of those inaugural resources debuted in October.
That's just 2 of 14 projected holes. So what's your timeline now to complete that drilling program?
The 2021 drilling program is complete, and we are now waiting for assay labs for the remaining 12 assays holes from that.
Okay, misunderstood program. You there for a second. Yeah,
that's quite all right.
Yeah.
This is significant. This is us paving the way for expansion of those inaugural resources. It's a big and well-mineralized district. I'm not sure how many Americans understand what a world-class and beautiful thing the Stillwater district is. It looks like some of the very best rocks in South Africa, the Bushveld complex. 3/4 of the world's platinum is in the Bushveld complex. Stillwater complex is a similar layered ultramafic system. They're well known to be parallels actually in the literature. And very simply, we're the first to systematically go after some of the geologic models that have been brought forward in South Africa and apply it to Montana. It's there, it's real, we're proving that, and we're excited. If you look to the Platte Reef district of the Bushveld complex, hundreds of millions of ounces of platinum group metals, tens of billions of pounds of sulfide nickel and copper. And that is situated just below the productive high-grade reef deposits of the Bushveld complex. Same thing in Montana. There's 100 million ounces next door currently being mined by Sibanye. I don't know how many Americans realize that. It's a thing of beauty. It's the highest grade PGE deposit in the world. It spans 40 kilometers, one big magmatic pulse. And we are in the correct setting below that stratigraphically to be pursuing this Platte Reef model. That's the resources that we debuted back in October, and that's the expansion that we're talking about now.
That's an extraordinary find because platinum, of course, I think a lot of people don't fully appreciate how important it is as a rare and precious metal.
Absolutely, and more so than ever. Platinum is essential for the production of green hydrogen, truly green hydrogen, by cracking water with electricity. It's also essential for the consumption of that hydrogen in a truly green manner in a fuel cell, which we're seeing increasingly in trains and heavy machinery, trucks and such. Platinum is a darling of the investment industry right now, and for good reason. It's just recently swung back to supply deficit after several years in surplus, and the price has moved accordingly. We have significant palladium and rhodium, of course. In fact, 20% of our resource is palladium, and that is gaining great press right now. I believe it's over $2,400 an ounce US again. And then the battery metal component. The full part of that Platte Reef commodity basket, which is so compelling, is that you have not only nickel and copper sulfides, but you also have healthy economic amounts of PGEs as well with that. And we add gold and cobalt. They don't get the cobalt in South Africa as we do in Montana.
Tell us a little bit about Montana as a mining jurisdiction, and also the infrastructure that's in place that's associated with your Stillwater site.
Stillwater District has produced since the 1800s. In fact, our ground had small producers of high-grade copper in particular. Then in the war years for chrome on the site of the current Stillwater mine. And then, of course, with the 1970s and catalytic converters, they actually applied geologic models directly from the Bushveld, South Africa, to Stillwater and found those high-grade reef deposits in the exact same location in the stratigraphy. If you look at our figures on our decks, you'll see that. So Stillwater has been productive for over 100 years. It's a great place to mine. The rocks are blessed, very mineral-rich district. Currently 3 mines and even a smelter in the district producing. It's worth noting that Sibanye-Stillwater's operations are actually nickel sulfide. The core of their deposit, a reef, if you will, is in fact nickel copper sulfide. It's just very high in PGEs and relatively low in nickel copper, so they don't really report the numbers there. The point is that their smelter and their concentrating operations give some credibility to what we're doing in the same magmatic system. It is probably a similar nickel copper sulfide matrix, just on a bulk mining scale and not on that narrow, more selective mining that they do.
So for viewers, they're going to be saying, okay, where to from here? What are your long-term plans? How do you plan on maximizing return on this resource?
It's been a fantastic 4 years so far. Just to have acquired half of such an iconic district is remarkable. For a junior, we own it 100% now. In that time, since then, we've now done 3 drill programs, each year bigger than the previous. The resources last year were a major milestone for any junior company. You're really bringing ounces and pounds on the table now. And as a side note, the amount of nickel we just brought forward, 700 million pounds, is a significant increase to the U.S. inventories of this critical metal. 5 of our metals have been listed as critical by the U.S. government. What comes next is refining those resources, upgrading them from inferred to indicated, and then up ultimately to reserve status, wrapping metallurgy studies around that, other studies, and of course expansion. And expansion is number 1 for us. If you look at our figures on the website, this is really 5 deposits across a 9-kilometer core area of the project, and they look like they want to connect. We're hitting new horizons, magmatic horizons all over the place. Everything is open for expansion. This really is fitting that Platte Reef model. So we feel 1.1 billion pounds, 2.4 million ounces, as robust a debut as that is just the beginning. And I think we can say that very comfortably from what's in front of us. So you ask what's next, it's further de-risking and it's expansion. In addition, we have 2 district scale assets elsewhere, high-grade gold in Ontario and another PGE nickel copper project in the Yukon. We recently announced a deal on the high-grade gold project in Ontario that gives us very good exposure to the gold space. Heritage Mining is the company, a new listing. And in the Yukon, we're looking for similar deals. So we have other mechanisms of adding value for shareholders as well.
You're still, even though I know you've been at this for years, you're still in that early stage of ultimately getting to mine development. Do you foresee that you want to see this through to that? Will you merge in with a major? What are your long-term objectives?
The typical model for an exploration growth stage company like Group 10 would be at some point a deal with a major. We certainly have the attention of majors, and we have conversations underway. We've not seen a deal yet that we like. We have $3 million in the bank. We have 16 million in the money warrants and options. We're not in a hurry to do a deal, and we see lots of value that we can add first. That is probably the right step at some point. If this asset goes the way we see it going, this looks like $1 billion asset. So with the right backers, with the right team, we would entertain building a mine there. Ultimately, Sibanye would be a fabulous partner. Rio Tinto, BHP, Ivanhoe, any of these companies in that order of category in mining, not meaning in that order of preference.
Of who? Yes.
Any of them would be an excellent, tier one miner would be a good fit in that regard. In terms of deal structures, a good next step for us would be a partnership with one of them, something that doesn't cap the value to us of the asset, or just a major partner, But as mentioned, we're funded right now. In fact, we may even be funded through this year, so we can just continue with our largest programs yet and keep adding value.
So to viewers who are potentially looking at becoming investors in your company, they're always asking, okay, why is now the right time for me to get involved?
We've just debuted $15 billion US of gross metal value, and we're sitting at a 60 million market cap. That's a huge gap. I believe the math is something like 0.4% or less of value. Obviously, you don't get full value for metals in the ground in an inferred resource, but many have suggested that 1 or 2% would be more appropriate. That's a double or a quadruple from where we are now. Add to that the expansion potential. We're fully funded. We're fully permitted. There's lots of room to grow this. The market is turning. Nickel is at a 10-year high and wants to go higher based on demand from the EV industry. We have cobalt in North America that's not in the Congo. We have platinum, palladium, rhodium, the most valuable commodity of all. There's lots of good in this project and lots of room to grow it. And then add to that the shares that we'll get in Heritage Mining and the payments and the possible discovery bonuses and the benefit from a deal on the Yukon project. We were actively acquiring good assets through the bear market, and you can't find district scale projects like our 3 assets in this market now.
Yeah.
We're open for business and we're focused on Stillwater. So.
Well, those are great messages for your current shareholders and for future ones as well. I thank you for taking the time to bring us up to speed on where you're at with Stillwater and your other projects. And I hope that you'll come back in the near future and give us continuing updates.
Well, you bet. I'd be glad to.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.